When it comes to PvE, you don't need to worry too much since all classes are pretty good for any sort of PvE content in Diablo Immortal. I would recommend playing whichever class you like the most, and that suits your playstyle. There's really nothing to worry about in my opinion. But if you are bored and want to hear someone else's opinion on PvE classes, or maybe you are new to the game and trying to figure out how content creators feel about each class and how they perform in PvE, then today I'll be sharing my personal opinion. I want to note that this is just my opinion and not a fact. And I would recommend you to check out other creators and the comments on this video to see what other players think as well. With that said, I'll dive into the PvE tier list. This tier list is based on the single target damage, area of effect damage, survivability, mobility, and overall fun. So let's start with the monk. So monk, in my opinion, when it comes to this single target damage, it is somewhat 8. It is still very high, but some other classes can get even better single target damage. As for the AoE damage, I would rate it again 8. And as for the survivability is actually really good, and mobility nowadays for the monk is really fast, especially when it comes to open world farm, dungeon farming, challenge dungeon, and stuff like that. And overall fun, I would say, is 8 because you don't get too many different builds for the monk, so I would give it 8. And overall average rating, in my opinion, after averaging everything here, turns out to be A. Next we have Barbarian. When it comes to the single target, again it is A. There are other classes which can get more single target damage, and when it comes to AoE damage, there isn't much happening for a Barbarian. Some other classes, they have a lot better AoE skills, and survivability is good for the bar. Mobility again is really good. And as for the fun, you will be using most of the same build for different content inside of Diablo Immortal, and there won't be all that many variations, so I would give it 8. And again, overall rating is A after averaging everything here. Next we have the wizard. Single target damage isn't great again, but it does huge AoE damage, one of the best AoE damage out there. And you can also like combine super crowd control with that, so it gets 10. For the survivability, you have the hailstone, but that isn't great anymore. But still, if you use that, it can go as high as 7 nowadays. And as for the mobility, one of the fastest classes out there with teleport and moving as a lightning nova. And for the fun, I would give it 10 because you have so many different variation and build for PvE for different mod. Easily you can come up with so many different build which will be good and fun to play, and it gets the average rating of A+. Next we have the Crusader. Crusader single target is among one of the highest out there. If you guys have not seen Urot and his build for the Crusader, you should go and see the amount of damage he was doing with the Crusader. Absolutely beast. Gets 10 when it comes to single target, and again a really nice AoE damage. It has some circa around it, and it does some really nice AoE damage. For survivability, it could be a bit higher, but to be safe, I'll give it 8. I think it could have gone as high as 9, but to be safe, I would be giving it 8 right now. For the mobility, you get the mount, and it is very fun to use. And as for the fun, I would give it 8 in my opinion. For some it will be higher, and for some it might be a bit lower, but after averaging everything here, the final rating is A+. Next we have the Necromancer. When it comes to single target damage, it is a beast again. And when it comes to AoE, there is AoE damage, but it is a bit slower. It takes some time before you start pumping up that AoE damage, and one of the reasons why I end up giving it 8, and some of the other classes that I mentioned, they have a better AoE option. It could have been like 9, but I am giving it 8 right now. For the survivability, you do get some survivability, immune damage or reduced damage. Crusader, it used to be really high, but again it is now like the wizard, so I end up giving it a 7 for the survivability. As for the mobility, you can go quite fast with the Necromancer, but not as fast as some of the other classes. And for the fun, again giving it 10, because a lot of builds out there for Necromancer. You will be having fun playing Necromancer, and the final rating is going to be A. I think I'm end up making a mistake here. Either it is A after averaging or it is A plus. Next we have the Blood Knight. Blood Knight in PvE isn't bad at all. Really solid single target damage. Again, it has nice AoE damage with Sanguinate and the Burst and a few other skills that moves with you. And survivability isn't bad either. You can heal yourself up as you fight as a Blood Knight. One of the best mechanics for the Blood Knight in PvE actually, that you can heal yourself and do damage. Really fun to play like that. And mobility, you will have to spam quite a lot of dashes. The reason why I end up giving it 8, it can go really fast, but you need to button spam and micromanage your skill for the dashes. And as for the fun, again, there isn't all that many builds out there for the Blood Knight, and so I end up giving it 8, and the final rating is A. Next we have Tempest. Tempest single target damage, absolutely beast, getting a 10 from me. As for the AoE, again, really nice AoE. It will be spreading quite a lot of skills as you will be using the rolling surf. And for the survivability, again, it is 10 in my opinion. For the Tempest mobility, again, it can be quite fast, so I'm giving it 9. For the fun, again, you will have couple of builds to try out as a Tempest, and so the final rating is S. Finally, Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter 8.5 for the single target damage. Could be 9, but I'm giving it 8.5. AoE can be really good with the spread of the summon, the strafe. And for the survivability is the lowest out of every other classes. Doesn't have anything that reduces the damage. For the mobility, goes with the 8. It is a bit slower because you will be using your primary, and that does reduce your mobility and the movement speed. Otherwise you can move a bit faster, but using the primary and moving at the same time, it does reduce the movement speed of the Demon Hunter compared to some other classes. If they can remove that in future, where you can move at max speed with fighting your primary, then it will be 10 in my opinion. As for the fun factor, there isn't much. You will be using basically 2 builds for most of everything for the PvE, and that's it. And so it gets B plus from me. Again, this is my personal opinion, not a fact, so let me know in the comment section down below what are your thoughts, and I'll be reading your comment. You guys have a great day. Later.